Hey!
Woo!
Woo! How's
We're
it going,
here.
Lord Cash? I'm laughing because today I will be Lord Cash playing the role. Oh, there we go.
Little switcheroo.
Woo! Well, welcome to Slam Nation, everybody, on the New York Nerd Show Network. So happy to see you tonight. And as we just introduced ourselves, that is Lord Cash over there to my right, perhaps your left. I have no idea. I'm AllThatPat. And Lord Cash, how you feeling today other than dizzy?
To be honest, I haven't been feeling really good. I had to go to the doctor today, and they prescribed me 2 Air Bud movies and called them in the morning.
Huh. Yeah. I don't think that's a good prescription. Air Bud movies. I don't. How many are there anyway? There's got to be like 10 of them.
So I is this joke going over your head?
Yeah, it is. It's going way over. I was thinking like there has to be a joke there, but I thought maybe it got dropped. I don't know.
No. So last week on Raw, Riddle was talking with Keith Lee.
Oh, geez.
And he was feeling, down. And so he watched all 4 Air Bud movies to pick himself up. So that's what the doctor prescribed to me. I was, feeling a little down, and 2 Air Bud movies. I'm great now.
Lord Cash, for as much as I did like Raw, and we'll talk about that in about 20 minutes, I honestly don't pay attention to Riddle's backstage segments. I think they miss about as much as Bobby Lashley's stomp missed about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, not a fan of Riddle's backstage. In ring's pretty good, but yes. You know what, Lord Cash, try that joke again on me. I'm ready.
So I've been feeling a little down lately. Went to the doctor, and he prescribed to me 2 Air Bud movies, then call them in the morning.
I still don't get it.
Well, worth a try. Worth a try. So what are we doing here tonight?
We are sitting in our respective homes, getting ready to talk about professional wrestling's finest, I guess. Yeah, I gotta say, we were watching Raw a little bit live after the show last week at times, and I was surprised, as we'll get to. I actually enjoyed Raw, most of it.
Yep. All right.
But yeah, SmackDown was okay, and we'll talk about that now. But yeah, I'm just so surprised. But like I said, I can't wait to talk about Raw for once. Maybe I need to go to the doctor and get those Air Buds prescribed to me.
Right. Well, because for those that may not know, AllThatPat has been watching Raw, at least on the Hulu version. So he's been getting that 3-hour dose shrunken down to 90 minutes. And by doing so, they actually take about 2 matches, maybe a couple like backstage stuff, some segments, whatever. They remove those. So that's probably where you missed the Air Bud joke, maybe.
I saw it. Don't you worry. Well, actually, this week I did. I watched it on USA.
Right. But through our talking back and forth, he learned that there's actually a USA app that he can sign in with his, cable provider, and be able to watch the show live, and actually get to watch the entire thing, or at least on the replay the next day. So he's now getting the full spectrum of Raw now.
And I'm going to have to hang my head in shame. We do want to say hello to all of our viewers right now, whether you're watching us on YouTube Live, Twitch, or Facebook. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and all that. Do it now real quick, because I'm going to have to say something. I'll say it now and later, something that I'm very ashamed to say. I rag on them all the time, but I actually saw Retribution's intro, their full package. That doesn't sound right either.
Nope.
But I don't hate them anymore. We'll talk about. They had a match with the New Day, and it wasn't terrible. I actually was like, oh, I don't mind this stable, but oh yeah, we lost a viewer. We lost a viewer already.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, we'll talk about that later. But don't worry, I didn't get a tattoo of slapjack or fartwad or whatever they're called on my arm or anything like that. But my T-shirt's in the mail. My T-shirt is in the mail.
There you go.
So we're gonna hit the ground running though with we start with is our SmackDown review. We want to take a seat next to the head of the table, Roman Reigns himself, and what happened on SmackDown this week, Lord Cash?
Well, let's see. We had Roman Reigns come on out with Paul Heyman and Jey Uso, and pretty much was going to talk about Edge's decision to whether or not he's going to be, going up against him for Elimination Chamber. We see Adam Pearce out in the ring and basically saying, very similar to what happened on Raw, kind of laid out who was going to be competing in the Elimination Chamber. However, this time it was a little bit different because instead of defending his title in the match, Paul Heyman was pretty much saying that he will be there at Elimination Chamber and will defend his title. He just will not be inside the Elimination Chamber. And they did announce the first two people that are going to be inside the Elimination Chamber, and that is Kevin Owens and his cousin Jey Uso. So
Kevin Owens apparently oh no, I forgot my prop. Oh no. Just pretend as I'm dragging this out. Never mind. I had a Game Genie. I had a Super Nintendo Game Genie sitting next to me, and I was going to say Kevin Owens has an infinite lives code. Pretend it's right here. We can Photoshop it afterwards. Game Genie. Yeah. So anyway, he gets title shots like, I don't know. It's ridiculous. So, of course, he's going to be in it, and I'm guessing he's going to win an Elimination Chamber match. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So those were the first two people that were announced for the match. Now, I have a question.
I have an answer.
You might. Airbud 2. But they went a different route than Raw did.
Yeah.
So Raw, it's a little spoiler of what's going to happen, but Drew McIntyre will be defending his title inside the Elimination Chamber. However, they did not want to have the same match as SmackDown, so Roman Reigns was not put inside the match.
Well, he made sure that he wasn't.
Right. But did you think that really matters, like, to the fans?
No, I mean, what it's going to boil down to is that they're just going to get an extra match at the end of the night. You know, in the sense of, because like they haven't really booked much in this show. I don't think anything's going to happen. You know, I don't anticipate that anyone's going to beat Roman Reigns at the end of the night, and I don't think McIntyre is going to lose his belt either. I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, do you anticipate that something's going to actually happen? Like, no?
I would say if I had to put money on one of them losing their title, I would put it more on Drew McIntyre. And that's because, if I'm not mistaken, I was doing we've got some trivia about Elimination Chamber coming up here. So we can kind of maybe cover that during the breaks. But I believe 6 out of the 26, I could be wrong on the numbers there. I was on Wikipedia, so, it is the internet, so it's always factual. But with that, 6 out of 26 times did the champion walk in with the belt and walk out with the belt.
26 matches? That's crazy.
There's been 26 Eliminations Chamber matches in its entire lifetime. So you're looking at, out of like maybe 1 in 3 that you're walking out with a belt, and that's really actually more like 1 in 4. So with that, your odds are not good.
You're right.
Specifically, depending on what number you get in the Elimination Chamber, definitely will determine that. I believe there's only been twice that the number 1 or number 2 person came out and actually won the entire thing.
Yeah, survived all the way. I know that tonight, as we'll mention later, like on Raw, they're doing a gauntlet match to determine who gets to come out last.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and I guess in the Raw one, they do have that little bit of a caveat that the Mr. Money in the Bank is in it. I mean, I doubt the Miz will win it, but there's that little thing that's gonna be hanging in there too, that if the Miz loses, he'll be able to come right back in, potentially too. Yeah, I mean, the only person that I could see on the Raw side, it's possible that Sheamus wins it. You know, I mean, 'cause I don't know who else would. I mean, they're all former champions. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to think about who would really be in the title picture, because AJ winning it would be kind of odd. We don't really fit anything. Sheamus could. Miz, he's the lame duck Money in the Bank. And Jeff Hardy, no. Randy Orton is always a threat. I think it's everybody. So, yeah, I don't think anybody's going to beat him. But, I mean, your thoughts, though, you obviously feel that that's going to happen.
Like I said, because he has the title going into it, if there was a opportunity and a chance for it to be dropped, this is the person that's gonna have it. The fact that the 6 competitors going into SmackDown, the winner gets to face Roman Reigns for a title shot. They're already going to be weakened.
Exactly.
So Roman Reigns is going to come in, do a 1-2-3 spear, Superman punch, pin 1-2-3. You know, even if it is, you know, the person that I feel is going to win, they're still going to be at a weakened state. They're not going to be at that 100%. So therefore, just logistically, the odds are in Roman Reigns' favor versus Drew McIntyre.
Who would you even pick? Because it is coming this Sunday, by the way, everybody. Raw, SmackDown are coming together for Money in the Bank. I got mixed up with the Miz. Elimination Chamber. So I mean, again, we'll be talking all night. But like, who would you think that's even going to win the match itself to go on to face Roman Reigns later in the show?
For
SmackDown, like, you know what I mean? Who would actually come out on that one?
Well, let's find out who all else is in this match, because we already know 2 out of the 6. And
they get to qualify. Then we'll be talking about that. Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, you know, not to be the spoiler. So our next match was actually a qualifying match. So we had the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, going up against King Corbin and the Did I have the wrong picture of Sami Zayn? I think I did. I think he had him with the Intercontinental title.
Well, he still thinks he is the champion. I mean,
that is true. I mean, maybe that was my Freudian slip.
You're just part of the conspiracy.
Or maybe I've bought into the conspiracy.
That's it. Yes.
So anyways, they were out. So whoever won the match, both competitors went in. So at this time, it looks like King Corbin and Sami Zayn did win the match. Even though both of them got a 619 in on King Corbin, they did win the match. So they are now qualified to go on. So now there's 4 competitors. We've got Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, and I did use that title with them. That's what happens when you have like all the graphics saved to your computer. You just accidentally grab the wrong one.
Don't worry, we believe in Sammy.
We're still waiting for the documentary.
Yes, it's got to be on WWE Network. I would love that.
It's gonna debut the day after WrestleMania. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna be one of those 24 moments. But so again, that's who won that one. Did you have like any thoughts on that match? Like anything stand out to you?
I mean, you know, I was surprised that the heels, Sami Zayn and Corbin, won. But again, they continue to have that chemistry, and I guess, you know, the Corbin Mysterio thing keeps going back and forth. Sami Zayn hasn't really been part of that, but at the same time, they got to have the even sides. But no, nothing stood out to me in that. It was a pretty good match. But again, I don't think either side is going to factor into the elimination. I think it would be kind of cool to see the Mysterios in that match because, you know, Dominic has certainly not been in one of those in a while. But, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how Dominic would have fared in an Elimination Chamber match.
He got the snot whooped out of him in the summer by Murphy and Seth Rollins, so you know the kid can take a beating. Very true,
very true. But it's a different beast, man. That's a different beast. I was writing down some of the numbers. Like that sucker is like over 16 tons. It's like 36 feet in diameter and like 17 feet high. So I know that they've done some crazy stuff where they're jumping off of, you know, the pods and everything. And climbing up on the top and like falling on people. It's ridiculous.
Well, in the debut, Rob Van Dam crushed Triple H's larynx.
Yeah.
In the first one ever, you know. I mean, so yeah, it's dangerous. They set that up from the get-go.
Yep. So if he went into it, I'm sure he would have done fine, but just, you know, thinking about his career and how like he's just starting out, give him a little more time to season himself up, you know, be stuck with, you know, your Seth Rollins and have your matches with King Corbin that are really building you up and cementing you as an actual performer before you jump into a match that, you know, that's an Elimination Chamber caliber. So
exactly. Let Sami Zayn get hurt.
Exactly. Because that would just be, you know, conspiracy.
We love you, Sammy.
So, but speaking of conspiracies, we're going to go and move on to our next one, where there was an open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship.
What kind of segue was that, Lord Cash?
Well, because Big E came out and was like, I'm going to issue an open challenge. And who comes out but none other than Apollo Crews? But he's like, no, anybody but you. Because you've already had your match. You don't have the Super Genie like Kevin Owens does, so you don't get more matches.
Go to your room.
Basically. So, of course, after all this, I'm kind of weeding out my time before it actually gets to the actual person that does come out, which surprised me a little bit. But Shinsuke Nakamura versus Big E for the
surprised him too.
Apparently, yeah. So he comes out and they have their match. Now this one, I feel bad for Shinsuke because they were putting on a pretty good match. You know, Big E's doing his thing, Shinsuke's doing his thing. However, someone does get involved, and Big E wins by DQ. Which means Shinsuke's match, he loses.
Right.
And gets nothing out of it.
Right.
But as you can see, there's the missile drop kick from Apollo Crews onto Big E. But that sets up now a triple threat for Elimination Chamber. Riddle, and that is the wrong slide.
I'm like, wait a minute. Somehow, what?
Conspiracy.
But I will say though that does, we'll talk about that later, Lord Cash. But they are similar booking in the sense of like these interferences, you know, causing the mid card belt getting a little mucked up right there. Honestly,
wow, that one I feel ashamed on that one. I totally messed up.
Hold on. So Apollo Crews interferes, causing Shinsuke the match, and Big E retains. But now we are definitely seeing a full heel turn by Apollo Crews. Do you agree?
I agree. Nice save. Yeah, I definitely, you know, we kind of predicted that was going to be the road that he was going to go. He was going to go more of the heel turn, especially with, you know, I know people probably forgot about it, but I remember it. But he had the conversation with Roman Reigns, you know, back in like December time frame. Yeah, he's had conversations with Paul Heyman on Talking Smack. So there's that kind of that mentorship by those two. And you just knew he was going to go down that road.
Right. I mean, I wonder if they're going to acknowledge even that and maybe have him part of the, you know, the stable, so to speak, you know, the Heyman stable. I think that would do him well. But yeah, we shall see. Because, like, I don't know, have they officially announced anything for the Elimination Chamber involving those three? Like, is that also been announced, or are they kind of just like rolling with that for right now?
No. So as already, you know, alluded to, there's the U.S. title match. There's the women's Raw women's match, and then the two chamber matches. Those are the 4 matches that have been announced as of right now.
Gotcha.
So I would imagine the rest of the card will be developed between tonight and Friday.
Right, because I know that, and like, as far as the women's tag titles, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they did a tag team did earn the #1 contendership to that last night on NXT. There's a tag team over there, oh my God. Oh, what is her name? Dakota Kai and Rachel Gonzalez. They won the Women's Dusty Cup, and they're now the official #1 contenders to the tag titles of the women. So I don't know if that
on NXT or for all of WWE.
All WWE.
Okay, but then what happened to Lana and Naomi?
Naomi? I don't know.
They had a #1 contender. They did the gauntlet with the triple threat for a chance for the title.
I don't know what to tell you. I just finished watching the NXT show, and they're like, they'll get the title shot against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, whatever they want.
So when we get over to actually, I think it might be when we get a little bit later. I may have the perfect slide that I did not realize I had.
Perfect.
So we'll see if it's either in SmackDown or in Raw. So
I can't wait to talk about the Nia Jax match. It's one of the first times I can ever say that, but it tore up the internet this week.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Between that and Raw Talk was just like they just broke the internet. So
we'll go down that hole later.
Speaking of breaking the internet, looks like Seth Rollins came back. Come on.
What are with your transitions today?
I just work. Come on, I'm working with what you say. If you said, you had a chocolate chip cookie, I'm like, speaking of chocolate chip cookies, let me tell you about Seth Rollins. So he came out to the ring, had all the superstars around the match, almost like a lumberjack match. But during his conversation about, I'm going to be that leader, I'm going to be that father figure to you all, everyone left except for Cesaro, which did not make Seth Rollins very happy. He proceeded to jump out of the ring and attack Cesaro. There's a tag match between Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. So, of course, he came out to help his tag team partner. They've had a nice little mutual respect being built over the past few weeks. So they're they're putting in a tag match tonight or last week in SmackDown. And so, I was almost a little surprised that Seth Rollins came back with the exact same gimmick.
Well, no, because I don't feel they're going with the Messiah aspect of being like godly, but he is definitely the father figure now that he's a father. Very similar gimmick. I don't think he's taken out anybody's eyes this time.
Right.
And I don't think there's gonna be any disciples, perhaps. I guess I'm splitting hairs right now. You're right. It's the same gimmick.
It's that 6 half dozen.
Right?
How you call it? Now he's gonna have instead of having disciples, he's gonna have a family. Exactly.
I mean, you're right. I'm wondering like who would be a part of it. You know what I mean? Because obviously Murphy's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My big takeaway from that was 2 things. One, when did the people on the ringside show up? I just joined in. I didn't see anybody walking, but maybe I missed that.
They walked out before Seth Rollins got there.
Right. Did you actually see them walk out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they were walking out right as they were going to commercial.
Okay. Like, because I didn't see R-Truth run by with a title. So, like, why would they be going out? It's like, I think it's weird. Because imagine you're a wrestler, and they're like, hey, this guy that's been, like, ripping out people's eyes and causing chaos? Just go support him on the outside of the ring. It's like, okay. Guess that's my job. I mean, it's like, I don't know, logic didn't make sense for me on that. However, speaking of chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Give me Cesaro versus Seth Rollins or Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins every day of the week. It's delicious.
Yes.
Put it in my tummy. No.
I'm going to say, give me a glass of milk and I'll eat it all up.
Well, that's going a little too far. That's.
I want to dunk my chocolate chips. Cookie. No? Okay.
Okay.
Well, who's not a chocolate chip cookie? Liv Morgan versus Bayley.
Debatable. I don't know. Look how small she is. Okay, go ahead. So this was a good match. And again, part of it's because of Bayley, but part of it's because, I mean, Liv Morgan has just gotten better in the ring. And then my favorite, the female Santino, has to show up for sure. And I'm telling you, Lord Cash, I would not mind an autographed 8x10 from,
Billy Kay.
Billy Kay, yes. I keep saying Santino in my head now. I can't help it.
Yeah, get a little headshot with resume on there. See what Truly's on her resume.
Yes, not much. Although former women's tag team champion.
That is very true.
That.
So, but yeah, she did come out again and caused Liv Morgan to lose the match. Though indirectly, I think it might have been more Ruby Riott that caused the match because she threw all the papers in the ring, which distracted, the ref. So, in all technicality, it was Ruby, but
get off Billy Kay's back. Get off her back. Everybody keeps blaming her. It's not her fault.
Sami Zayn conspiracy. Billy Kay conspiracy. I'm here for the people.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
Good times.
But yeah, I'm enjoying that character, and I don't think it's becoming too repetitive because it still feels like it's repetitive, but it feels like unique enough each week somehow because of the people that are portraying the characters.
Right.
Because it is the same thing every week, let's be real, but it doesn't seem as annoying as some.
Yeah. Well, you know what's not annoying? I don't know.
Chocolate chip. No.
So we had a tag team match. We had the Street Profits versus Otis and Chad Gable. I bet Otis has had a couple chocolate chip cookies in his days.
He
they are still
has.
Throwing up the red Solo cups. They had the blue. They had the blue for like 2 weeks, and then they went back to red.
They're more expensive. Have you been
to
Publix? Have you been to ShopRite?
No.
They are a little bit more, I assume. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Vince McMahon's a billionaire, dude. He can afford it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And
they can always just recycle them.
No, that's not sanitary. Look at all those people in that arena.
So yeah, we had this match and we just talked about it all this time and Street Profits, they did win. So I'm just curious as to, what's going to happen with the Street Profits. Are they going to get a chance at the title again?
I'm sure they will. Yeah, I'm sure they will. They're going to be built up to it. And I don't know how long it's going to be, though, because I could really see them having a multi-team match at WrestleMania this year, going for those belts. But, how long do we wait to get to that point as far as, holding off on, a direct rematch, right?
Right.
Because I'd be very surprised if they don't win them. It's just one of those things where, yeah, I'm Street Profits are beginning to bore me. It has nothing to do with them. It's just I haven't seen anything of interest coming from them in a while.
Okay.
Well, I mean, have they had any real feuds? I mean, 2020, their feuds were getting poisoned by the by Garza and oh my God, Andrade. That was a big feud. It was getting poisoned by them. And the other big feud they have that I can remember last year was against the Viking Raiders when they got stuck in a trash dumpster, and were chased by ninjas. This year, I don't feel there's any feuds. They basically fought Ziggler and Rude, lost the belts. I mean, there wasn't anything unique to that feud that I can recall. So I want to see some. I want to see some pizzazz to the in-ring action.
So what you're telling me is you want the smoke?
I want the smoke. Yes.
Okay.
I want the smoke.
Just making sure that Ford is correct that we want the smoke.
We want the smoke. Okay. I really want Otis to win again, personally. So maybe I was a little biased in that match that,
True.
he lost.
True. Well, Well, speaking of the smoke.
I don't see this one coming, but okay. Oh, you know what? I agree. I was thinking ahead of time. Yes. No, I got you.
So Sasha Banks comes out and basically calling out Bianca Belair, saying, you've won the Rumble. You really, if you want the best, you need to come after me. But you had Shayna and Nia Jax, who are your women's tag team, come out and they caused a little trouble, but they got into a little skirmish, a little tussle, and pretty much Sasha and Bianca just took him out.
Took her out.
Took them out.
It's like you said, took him out.
So apparently it's in It's on Raw.
Oh yeah.
Basically they came out and they leveled the playing field with them. So I would not be surprised if we don't get a tag match. I do think that Bianca's going to pick Sasha for WrestleMania, but I think they're going to pair them up as tag team tag team to go up against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
I'm not surprised with that prediction because I could see that happening for certain. I hope they don't put the belts on them though.
Yeah.
And two reasons. One, I'm the whole feuding, competitors win the tag titles and have to be these like awkward tag team champions has been done to death. I mean, the last two tag champions did that exactly with the Kurt and Asuka and Charlotte. But even bigger though, I really think that Bianca's first title in WWE needs to be the women's, like the main one, and it has to be on a big stage. I mean, I think it would cheapen her true success story by saying, here's another belt just as a placeholder. I think they just need to wait it out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would just do her the best service.
Yeah, exactly. And just so you know, the whole thing with Nia Jax, they kind of made fun of it on SmackDown, but the big deal, the WrestleMania of internet memes, is going to be on Raw itself. Which is weird because
they edit. Well, one, it did not make the Hulu cut.
It did not. It was beeped.
And then two, I guess on like the replays, whatever, they bleeped it out.
Yep.
But then on SmackDown, clear as day.
Was it really? I didn't even. Like, I just saw it the first go around, and it was like
yeah. What? Well, because I watched all and I heard all the hubbub on from Monday night. That when I watched technically I watched it Saturday morning. I was surprised that they actually had the dialogue there. So try to avoid saying it.
Yeah.
So, but that does lead us to our last and final match of SmackDown. And that was the other qualifying match for the Eliminations Chamber. That we had Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode going up against Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, which we already mentioned. So this one, again, I all four of these competitors are great, phenomenal. Daniel Bryan, Cesaro are superb performers. What is your thoughts on it?
The same thing. I mean, like okay. It wasn't surprising at all who won because earlier in the show they already had a heel tag team qualify.
Right.
So it'd be way too lopsided, especially because the champion's a heel. So that'd be kind of odd. I'm super excited about seeing these guys in Elimination Chamber. It's just I'm loving that they keep pushing Cesaro. They keep giving him the booking. They've gone back and forth with this guy, over the years. Like, don't get me wrong, he's highly decorated. He's won the tag team titles numerous times, United States champion multiple times. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal the first year they did it. So it's not just some like schlub that they're not like doing anything with, but this could be the big push. I would not be surprised actually if he wins the Elimination Chamber match just to give the taste of having him in a main event spot against Roman Reigns. I think that would be really awesome to see him going up for the main title. And the crowd, though not there, and the internet would be hot. But it was a good match. You know what I mean? They continue to put over the sharpshooter, and the dude bent Ziggler in half because Ziggler is Gumby. For you kids that don't know who Gumby is, he's really stretchy.
Bendy
and stretchy. Bendy more. Yeah. But anyway, good match.
I agree that Cesaro's probably going to walk out of the chamber as winner. Again, just if I don't know, they're gonna have him drop the title to Cesaro. I don't think that's going to happen. But even again, he's not going to come out 100%. So I don't know if it's going to set up a fast lane rematch
Mm-hmm.
So, but your 6 competitors are going to be Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, and Sami Zayn. So we're definitely going to have to see which one of these 6 is going to be the winner for that match.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and Jay's going to get involved after the match too.
Yep.
Because I'm curious what Jay's going to even do to begin with, because he's in there technically to take on his uncle in some ways.
Yeah.
Or cousin, officially. So yeah, I'm surprised that he's even booked in this in some ways.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that turns out. I mean, and obviously the I don't know if you have slides for, but how the show ended as far as on SmackDown, it became basically
a free for all.
Yeah, Kevin Owens hit 17 stunners like he has been.
Yeah.
Sent everybody turning off their monitors home happy.
Yeah.
But Raw, I alluded to this earlier, is that I could not believe that I actually liked Raw. They, there's multiple matches that were, we'll go through it. Like, it felt like they had actually been secretly building up to this Raw for the past 2 months. A lot of these matches they had last Monday were like feud blow-off matches, and some of them didn't really deliver. But the biggest shame is that they didn't advertise any of these.
Yeah.
Because we'll see tonight on the review, Charlotte fights Lacey Evans, as they've been feuding for months.
Well, they did. They kind of advertised that it was supposed to be they were supposed to have a confrontation.
Yeah.
Which evolved into the match. So.
Right. Same thing with the Lana and Nia Jackson, though. That wasn't mentioned at all.
Yeah. So, but before we jump into our Raw review, I kind of want to give you the opportunity to kind of share all of our other shows that you can catch on the Slam Nation. I'm sorry, on the New York Nerd Show. So if you want to go and chat about that for a moment, I'll give you that opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lord Cash. We do have a lot of cool shows on our network, and we're looking to always add more. So if there's something that you ever kind of want to get an idea about, let us know. But we do have on Thursdays at 8 p.m. our I Stream, You Stream, where Lord Cash, Bitter Ritz, and myself, we talk about all the streaming shows that are currently on one of our devices, whether it be Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, or HBO Max. Currently, we're taking a look at the fan favorite WandaVision. Very cool show. A lot of people are loving it, including us. Take a look and join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. because Lord Cash takes us to school. He is quite the researcher and has a lot of good theories and Easter eggs. You can check out our previous episodes of that as well. We also talk about our meals. Rita Bit of Ritz and myself, we share what we eat and share some of the recipes that we get from some of our food delivery services like Every Plate, Blue Apron, and Hello Fresh. If you like, share, or subscribe to any of our focuses, our social media networks, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, Twitch, you'll get all the updates. You can see when we go live with those different shows, especially the food ones. We also have shows about Blind Bag Bonanza. We talk about mail call pickups, all these different things we do throughout the week, including we also have a video game show Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We were doing a lot of wrestling ones, whether it be 2K18 or Battlegrounds. I recently have been really digging deep on the Cobra Kai video game. Last week, I just beat it on the Cobra Kai Dojo. I'm still rocking and rolling on that this week. Now I'm trying to get ahead on the Miyagi-Do version. And we also have our newest addition to our New York Nerd Show family, Funko Royalty, featuring Lord Cash himself as he goes through all the wonderful Funko Pops that he has and continues to get when it comes to all the exclusives. The man's got a lot of fun.
Very well. Yeah, I do have quite a few out there. Like I said, each time that little section out there just keeps getting modified, and like I said, I've been condensing boxes down just that way. When it's all ready, I can just have one box and just start tearing it up. So, all right. Well, also before we jump into a Raw, since this Sunday is Elimination Chamber, I do have a couple of trivia questions. If we'd like to go and throw those out here before we, and then we'll hit the answers at the end of the night. Are you ready to jump on in?
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, our first one is, in what year did the first Elimination Chamber take place, and which superstar won?
funny enough, I actually alluded to it a little bit earlier that this was one of the, I actually mentioned a little bit earlier about maybe an injury that occurred during it. So as you guys are taking a moment to throw it in the chat, who do you think was the first Elimination Chamber winner? And also, when did this happen?
Yep.
I remember because Lord Cash, you and I actually watched it live together. That'll be kind of a clue too, if you know that we're no longer in the same state.
Yep. Alrighty. So that was that one. Then we've got this question here. Let's see. Which superstar, possibly more than one, have eliminated all 5 of their opponents?
Yeah, like I said, I know that I know of at least one. If I think back, I'm trying to. Yeah, I know of at least one. I feel like there was 2 years where that almost happened, and it drove everybody nuts. That it did not happen. So again, same thing. If you guys want to throw that in the chat, we'll answer it all in a couple minutes. But I know of at least one, Lord Cash. I definitely know of at least one.
All righty. Well, then there's 3 of them on this one. So we're going to kind of hit them real quick. So who has won the most Elimination Chamber matches? So this person has won, I'll give you the number, has won 4 of them.
Wow.
And then who has appeared in the most Eliminations Chamber? And then who, over all their time frame, who has eliminated the most superstars overall?
Wow. Well, let's see. If we start with the first question, which was the one about who has eliminated all 5 of their opponents. That one, let me pull that one up. Let's see.
Okay. Or is that the most elimination chambers?
No, this is the one about I'm going back to where we started.
Okay.
So the superstar or superstars have eliminated all 5 of their competitors. I'm pretty sure Shayna Baszler did that last year. She eliminated all 5 women. Am I correct on that one?
That is one of them.
And would the other one be, did Braun Strowman run the gauntlet one year? I know he came close.
So you're saying Shayna Baszler and
Braun Strowman.
That's who you're going with.
That's who I'm going with. Yeah.
So that one is correct.
I know Goldberg was on his way to doing it back in 2002, and then good old Trips, he hit him with a sledgehammer and sent him home. That was like in, I don't know, I think it was 2002. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm seeing for that one. Now, the most Elimination Chambers.
Yep.
God, would it be Trips? Would it be Triple H that won the most?
That is correct. He's been in there he's won 4 times.
Does he have a tie, or is it he's just the one that won?
No, he's the one that has the most wins.
Okay.
And then the other 2, who has appeared in the most Elimination Chambers and who has eliminated the most superstars overall is the same person.
I am going to go with 3 letters.
Okay.
RKO.
Not correct.
Dang. Then.
But.
Oh. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is it does he currently have a very nice spot at the dinner table?
He does not.
Damn. I'm just gonna say Brooklyn Brawler because that's about as good as my guess is, apparently.
So you almost had me worried there when you said 3 letters, but technically it's only 2 letters and a number.
Really?
Chris Jericho, Mr. Y2J, has appeared in 8 Elimination Chambers and has eliminated 10 superstars overall.
Really?
Really.
Oh, man, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. Dude hasn't been in an Elimination Chamber in at least 3.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He's been in there for a while. He hasn't been in there for a while. But
I think he was in the first one, I believe. So I mean,
I think during that run in the early 2000s, yeah, he was in like a lot of them.
Wow.
So
who invented the Elimination Chamber? Do you remember who invented it?
Guy on the left.
No.
Okay.
On TV.
Okay, who invented on TV? That was Eric Bischoff.
Yes.
But the person that actually came up with the idea was Triple H.
Yeah, I believe exactly in real life for sure. Nice job. Well, to me, I was gonna say nice questions.
So you ready for the other one that I have?
Oh yes, of course.
So out of all the titles, which ones have not been defended in the Eliminations Chamber?
Okay. United States Championship has not. God, the tag titles have. There was one time they did them, but I don't know. I'm gonna say the WWE tag titles were not. Intercontinental, I think was once. ECW definitely was. It was a train wreck. And then I don't think the women's main titles were, because when Shayna won it last year, the title wasn't on the line, or else she would be the champ. So I'm going to say both women's singles championships, the WWE tag titles, and the two mid-card belts, the US and the IC. I'll say US for sure. No, I call shenanigans.
Okay, go ahead. I dare you. I dare you. Go for it. Because I know exactly where you're going, and I specifically worded it in a specific way. Go ahead and bring your challenge.
What? Because they weren't defended, they were crowned as a first champion for the women.
Exactly. The women's tag team belt have never been defended. They just won because no one walked into that match holding the belts.
I need something to throw at you.
So, but the SmackDown tag team champions have been. The Raw women's title has been done, and the but the SmackDown hasn't, and the Raw tag team hasn't, and of course the US title has not been.
Yeah.
So out of all those belts, 4 of them have not been defended in the Eliminations Chamber.
Interesting.
Yep. That's what I did today. So you want to jump to Raw?
Sure.
All righty. Well, that took a little extra time, but that's whatever.
It is what it is.
Yep. So Raw opened up with a nice big bang, someone we haven't seen in quite some time, and that was Mr. Shane McMahon. He came out and pretty much, with help of Adam Pearce, said that we've got ourselves a match for Elimination Chamber. So running them down real quick, we have Money to Make The Miz. We've got Sheamus, the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, RKO, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy, who's standing next to the Phenomenal One. Then, of course, at that point, AJ Styles comes out and goes, "That's an excellent thing you guys are doing," which, of course, ends up setting him up for his match that he had with Jeff Hardy here in just a moment.
I'm sorry, that picture of Jeff Hardy is like, it looks like a pumpkin.
Hey, that's what they have on file. That's what I took. So, what are your thoughts on this Elimination Chamber? And 2, any thoughts on this match? Anything that stuck out to you?
I feel that it happens a lot. First of all, as far as the Chamber this year as well, where one show they have to qualify for the same match that the other show does not. But it's going to be fine. It's all former champions. I think it's going to be a good match, good show. We talked about our predictions earlier. But the match was okay. I was surprised that AJ Styles made him tap. But these guys had a pretty heated feud last summer.
Yep.
and they didn't make much acknowledgement to that, oddly enough. But I guess they're both in different spots in their current WWE life. Neither guy has the IC title or is even sniffing around it. But like I said, yeah, I thought it was an okay match. It wasn't a classic or anything like that, but it was fine. Again, he and then AJ made him tap out the calf crusher. Good opening, but you don't go out of your way to watch it because you can see plenty of other greater matches from these two. But yeah, it wasn't offensive by any stretch.
Well, speaking of a great match, your favorite is up next.
Hey, when you see their stills right there, Slapjack still looks like he's wearing like a paper plate cut up like a little kid who's making a Halloween mask out of it. It still looks completely ridiculous. But, again, like getting to see the little graphic on the screen and all that, I'm like, okay, I can dig it. And I got to hear Mustafa Ali, their head man, their leader, that's talking, trying to put him over. Like, you really believed it almost.
Yeah.
But again, Slapjack and T-Bar, I believe are the two guys' names. They were good in the match. They actually were fine. And obviously they were working with the New Day. I mean, if you can't get a good match out of yourself working with these guys, something's wrong. But it was good. I thought New Day was actually going to lose, believe it or not. They didn't. But that was okay. It was a nice finish. There's like some argument from Mustafa Ali kind of yelling at them, which again put some dissension in the ranks perhaps. But most importantly, Xavier Woods is still demanding it. He wants the reckoning in a match.
2 for 2.
Yep, exactly. And you called it.
Well, he had this whole thing on Raw Talk, so I was just recapping what he's already said. So,
well, and reckoning is now engaged. So, I mean,
it's very true.
Yes.
So, and we'll get to the fiance later on tonight.
Exactly.
So, but who is not engaged is Lacey Evans.
I gotta say, I was very happy with this because, there's been some like ridiculous things that they were alluding to that like they're actually having an affair, and you got this like 75-year-old guy with a woman who has been like clearly said that she's got a kid and is married, and I don't know, it was sloppy. It didn't make any sense. They really went full board and said he's with her in order to kind of what I was hoping they'd say, like basically they're saying, I'm trying to learn from the dirtiest player of the game.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, he's like, Charlotte, you didn't want my advice, so I'm going to somebody that does appreciate it. The match itself was way too long. It was kind of nonsense, but bottom line is Lacey Evans wins, which I think she could use it way more than Charlotte could use it. I was glad they actually went with the Lacey Evans win, and that actually sets her up for a Raw Women's Championship match at the pay-per-view. And I'm telling you, Lord Cash, she's winning the belt. She's taking the belt, and then they're going to have a rematch at WrestleMania. That's how Charlotte Flair is going to get in the title picture at WrestleMania, which if they're going to put her in that for the title at WrestleMania, I would rather it be against Lacey Evans because I love Asuka. I really do. And I swear to God, Charlotte Flair beats her every time. So if it keeps Charlotte Flair from making her tap out again, take the title from her. I don't know, right. Protect her. But yeah, that's what I'm anticipating. I mean, what about you? Do you think that she's going to win the belt?
My thing is, because of the people involved, I would not be surprised if Charlotte Flair comes out and cost Lacey Evans the match, thus setting up a possible triple threat match for WrestleMania.
Okay, I could see that too then.
And then definitely, again, I would imagine that they're going to give Lacey the belt, and she's going to, take those dirty player, tutorials and beat Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, as long as Lacey Evans wins a portion of the feud, only because I'm not a fan of Lacey, but I really don't like Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair I don't like because of the John Cena syndrome.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, I mean, she's good in the ring, just shoved so far down her throat that it's clicking my gag reflex.
I can see that how that would work. So
then, like you met, yeah. So I mean, again, it was just one of those matches. I was surprised that they really didn't announce it, and like you said, like, they did announce an altercation or like an in-ring something, and they just kind of went farther with it. But again, it made for Raw feeling a little bit more must see. And it continued with, quite honestly, a guy that's really surprising me on the main roster so far and how they've been handling him. Damian Priest had a match with Angel Garza.
So prior to that happening, we had Edge coming on out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
That's all right. Pretty much he came on out and has pretty much said that with the announcement of the Elimination Chamber and who all's going to be in there, as the opportunist, it would be foolish for him to throw his hat into the ring now. So, but of course, John Morrison and Miz came out, and that led for Bad Bunny to come out with Damian Priest. So that set up the match with Angel Garza, who came out with Miz and Morrison, and so they had this match. Now, recently, Damian Priest has kind of moving on up from the NXT roster. I like him. He does pretty well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the guy has star written all over him. He really does. He knows where to look with the camera. Like, he seems very confident in the ring. He's got a lot of good moves. Yeah, I have no problem with him whatsoever. I mean, I do like him, and Bad Bunny, as much as I rag on him, and I think the internet community does too, he clearly knows what he's doing out there. He doesn't look like he's doing a cheap cash grab. Otherwise, he wouldn't be on there continuously.
Right.
And he's definitely having a good altercation with The Miz. I would not be surprised if they ultimately somehow tie them all together for WrestleMania, which is, again, I'm not making that up. It just seems like that's kind of like the rumor and innuendo that that's going to be like a Miz and Morrison versus Priest and Bad Bunny. And if they do go that route, the only thing I got to say is what's happening with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Right.
But, they can definitely carry Bad Bunny to a match. And I don't know. Like I said, I have no problem with Damian Priest. I'm just curious. Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't have any concerns with him, honestly.
Yeah, it's he was on Raw Talk afterwards, and he's got good mic skills, can talk on the mic fairly well. His persona and his voice don't really match up, in my opinion. So he seems like he's definitely a cool dude that you'd want to hang out with, and I think he's a good performer.
Exactly. And if you ever watch anybody that's watching it now, if you ever listen to Bruce Pritchard on his show Something to Wrestle With podcast, one of the biggest things he always says about people that don't make it are that you have people that are wrestlers, and then you have people that are pretending to play wrestler on TV. Damian Priest, he seems like he is a wrestler. He doesn't seem fake. He comes out and he seems like he's just out there being himself. There's flames behind him and everything, but he doesn't feel like he's playing a character, which is interesting to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of a character, let's talk about the Riddle versus Keith Lee match.
The match was good. And actually, if you have not seen any of the Riddle backstage stuff, I don't think you'd even realize why I'm sure there's a market for it. This match, though, bottom line, in ring, very good match. I did not know who was going to win, and I love matches like that because each guy has been booked to lose and booked to win a lot lately. It was nice back and forth. Keith Lee did pick up the win. They showed up some, with the Spirit Bomb. They showed some nice camaraderie afterwards, and then both of them got absolutely demolished by the one and only Keith Lee. Got destroyed by Lashley. I wish you could see the video of that. It was ridiculous. The guy hit his head on the lights above the Thunderdome. The guy's almost $4 bills. And I know he has to jump, but my God, Lashley threw him so high up with that choke slam. It was bonkers and a half. And somehow the guy that loses to everybody in this feud is also in the match, Riddle, but okay, he's gonna win the belt. I said this last week. Hill's the one that walk out with it, but man, Lashley is like winning me over during this run. He's just a beast and a half, and the dude's like 46.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know how that like, but anyway, good match. I'm really happy with the way all three were presented in this week. I'm going to only assume that you agree, but your thoughts?
Yeah, no, okay. The Riddle stuff is for me. I love the backstage stuff. It makes me laugh. I'm much more of the let's build a story up. So having those little one-on-one moments with, MVP, with the Hurt Business, with Keith Lee, all these other people, I am amused by that. I love that. So, like I said, last week when he's like,
just so you guys know, that's a Santino shadow box right there with all my Santino merchandise. I love the man. Continue. Little peek behind the curtain over here.
So I do love what they're doing with Riddle. He's the one who's been getting his butt kicked. And that's you just see the pain on his face when he just gets clotheslines or just whatever he gets done to him. He just has that look on his face of like, seriously, what was the license plate on that truck?
Right.
And again, with him coming out with Bobby Lashley and now Keith Lee, it's going to be interesting. I kind of don't know who's going to win. I think that Keith Lee might be the favorite to win.
Right.
But I would not put out Riddle as a possible contender, and I'm not putting out Bobby Lashley as to retain.
I agree, and that's one thing I am looking forward to Elimination Chamber this Sunday. Just bottom line, no match is there a picker. Like I really don't know who's going to win any of these matches. So that's Oh, just so you guys know, as Raw is starting right now, if you really want to see Miz TV with the same Miz TV they've done for the past month, Miz is walking out right now. Just want to throw that out there.
Well, our next match that we have was actually a twofer.
Oh yeah, here we go.
This is what is officially has broken the internet, and that was the Lana versus Nia Jax in a tables match, which this should have been like something like 3-4 months ago.
I agree, and it's funny. Bitter Ritz came into the room when I was watching this, and they replayed the whole idea of Nia had been putting her through tables. Bitter Rich was like, why do they keep re-showing this? And I'm like, oh, no, it happened that many times. Look, she's changing outfits. She's like, what? Why do they do that? And I'm like, nobody else knows either. I got to say, Nia whooped her. And I love the finish. Not even the my hole. Let's just say it. She dug a hole in her backyard. She missed a leg drop on the apron. It was a pretty funny little moment. Watch it on YouTube. But anyway, it was the only offense Lana got. It was built perfectly. This made more sense than the previous things. She fell. She's like holding, wandering around outside, and Lana just shoved her. That's about the only way that Lana could have beaten Nia Jax. I thought it worked perfectly. I actually enjoyed this match, and obviously laughed for about 30 minutes after this match. And as you're mentioning, Lord Cash, it led into the twofer where Shayna Baszler attacked them, and basically it ended up being a match between Naomi and Shayna Baszler. Both of these women can go. They know their characters very well. Poor Naomi's been off for like 7 months.
Yeah.
But she's getting right back into it. That move right there always kills me. That stomp to the back of the elbow. I don't know how they do it without hurting themselves, but Shayna's mastered that. And I think Naomi won with a roll up, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, again, that puts you out there knowing that these two, like you had mentioned, are definitely in the number one contendership to their women's titles.
Yeah, because they had the triple threat last week, I believe, against Charlotte and Asuka, and then it was Mandy Rose and
Dana Brooke.
There you go. And of course they won. So it's like, okay, when are they going to get their title shot?
Nice. So I will say the women on NXT, Dakota Kai and Rachel Gonzalez, they're a heel tag team.
Right.
So I would not be surprised if they go with Naomi and Lana winning the belts first and then defending him against the other, because otherwise you're going to have two heel tag team fighters against each other. But the two that won it on NXT, they're not really they're definitely not well known on the main roster, because I mean, I bet you probably couldn't even pick them out in a lineup.
No, I probably could.
Oh, okay. Because so I mean, so we'll be curious how they actually handle it. I mean, they don't have to necessarily. They didn't say next week or anything like that for either one of them. So
it could be a fast lane. It could be a WrestleMania. Who knows? It could be, whoever has the belt has to go to NXT.
Exactly.
So, well, we'll see how that plays out. But that does bring us to the last match of the evening, and that was Drew McIntyre going up against Randy Orton. They're playing to this ball game again. So they came out. They had their little match. Typically, it seems like every week someone is getting involved in Randy Orton's matches, whether it is Alexa Bliss or the lighting effects. This week we kind of had the same thing go down. You kind of can see him in the back there, but you've got Sheamus, who's at ringside, watches, because again, him and Drew McIntyre are now starting a feud, and Sheamus just doesn't like the way he looks anymore. So at some point during the match, Sheamus does get involved and give, I believe he was going for Drew McIntyre, but Drew moved and hits Randy Orton with the bro kick, which again, then Drew McIntyre hits him with the Claymore and pretty much is saying, "You want my title? Come get it. I'll see you in the Elimination Chamber, buddy."
Right, exactly. And that's funny because, when we get to this point, like on our show, kind of like, oh, here comes the Orton McIntyre match. It's going to be like a 30-minute match. No, it was like 3.5. It didn't last very long. So,
yeah, it just you had three of the contenders for the Elimination Chamber out there, with Randy and Drew and Sheamus getting involved. And then, of course, you've got Miz, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy, who's going to be joining them. I would not be surprised if they do like a 3-on-3 match tonight. They're doing the gauntlet. Never mind.
Right. That might be on SmackDown.
Is that SmackDown doing the gauntlet?
No. They're doing the gauntlet on Raw, but I'm saying a 3-on-3. Don't be surprised if they do that on SmackDown.
Right. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So the four matches that they have announced so far to date, like I said, you've got the Raw Women's Champion Asuka going up against Lacey Evans. I think either Lacey's going to win it, or like I predicted that Charlotte Flair is going to give Lacey a taste of her own medicine and come out and kind of cause a distraction. Then of course you've got the U.S. title with Riddle, Bobby Lashley, and Keith Lee going up against each other. And of course, then you have the two Eliminations Chamber, the one with Raw having Drew McIntyre in it, and then the SmackDown, whoever wins the match goes up against Roman Reigns later that night. I would imagine that's probably going to be your Eliminations Chamber opening match, just to give them some rest. Because I would hate for them to go, all right, and I'm just going to say, Cesaro, you won. Raise the Eliminations Chamber. Roman Reigns music hits, and he comes down there and fights him right then and there.
But what if that's part of the gimmick? What if it's supposed to be later in the night, and then Roman Reigns pulls his crap, and basically it was like, no, it's now, because he apparently runs the show. He's got it over Adam Pearce for some reason.
Yep.
They might use that as a gimmick, because otherwise, yes, I agree. I would like to see that, that rest period, so to speak, and then go on to the main event.
So, but as you also did allude to, Drew McIntyre is on Miz TV tonight. So
look at that suit.
I don't know if that. I know. I would love to have that suit. I don't know if that segment is already over or if they're leaning into it right now.
Miz is talking into the camera right now. I have no idea what he's saying. I basically turned it on in the background just in case something breaking happened. You know what I mean?
Right. So, but yeah, that's basically one of the things that has happened tonight. And then, like I said, they're doing like the gauntlet match with all the superstars going into the Raw Elimination Chamber. Those were the only two things that were alluded to for tonight's spot.
Right. I think that there's some good shows tonight. You know, I mean, last week. Be honest with you, I mean, some things were questionable, but I didn't feel that any of it was like a dredge, you know, or like painful to get through. I mean, next week, we'll be covering Elimination Chamber almost as in its entirety. We'll talk a little bit about SmackDown and kind of what we'll be covering everything. But I mean, I definitely think that we're gonna have a pretty busy week. Again with the pay-per-view and little bits of Raw and SmackDown that lead into it, but
right.
This would be a big show because, again, who knows? I don't know if they're going to keep the course that we all would predict going to WrestleMania with the existing champions.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to go bananas and just, throw everybody off the track. Bananas. Because, again, we could lose all of our champions this week and just start fresh.
Yep. Would not be necessarily opposed to that. If every single title changed hands this Sunday, I would not be opposed to that.
I wouldn't either. It's funny. And obviously we're not doing like a retro pay-per-view. We didn't do it last week either. But like when I'm thinking about a retro pay-per-view, though, it always do like the original stuff too. They're on the network. Just on the side, if you ever, it's kind of hard. Okay. My point before I get all over the place, there was a pay-per-view, WrestleMania 15, I believe it was. Almost every champion, like they just switched all the belts, like about a week or two before the show, and it was like ridiculous. There's like all the feuds just kind of got reset. Some of the wrestlers got mixed into other feuds. But if you didn't know the feuds going into it, it might not make much sense. But
right,
that's where my brain wandered to just now. I don't know what to say other than that.
Well, speaking of retro pay-per-views, one question that did not get answered tonight, and that was, in what year did the first Elimination Chamber take place, and which superstar won? Do you know that answer?
I do. I thought that I answered it, but I know that I didn't. Well, it was 2002, 3.
Final answer?
It was 2. It was definitely 2.
All right. And who won?
And it was your favorite, Shawn Michaels, and his weird haircut and his baby brown shorts, which currently had them made a last minute, but whatever. He beat Triple H in quite the ridiculous Hell in a Cell. That was what I kind of talked about earlier, where Triple H got his trachea crushed by Rob Van Dam's knee. But yeah, I can even tell you what he was in it. Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho.
There you go. So yeah, it was a. Like I said, I've always been a fan of elimination style matches, and this just took it to a whole new level with having the pods and the whole like Hell in a Cell type of format. So
well, and at that time too, they had like the actual metal grating floor, which was insane. Like about 2-3 years ago, they went to like the prison carpeted floor type of deal. It's not nearly as brutal. Well, it doesn't look nearly as brutal. I've never been in one.
Right.
But yeah, there's been some pretty good ones over the years. I would like to actually watch a bunch of them because obviously 26 of them, I do not remember all of them.
Well, now you gotta consider some of those were like same night matches.
Oh no, of course.
There was,
they had a men's tag team one once year, which I remember was like the primetime players were in it.
The first 7 of them were not, they were in different pay-per-views.
Yep.
February 21st, 2010 was the first Elimination Chamber actual pay-per-view. So this Sunday will be the 11-year anniversary of the original Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Okay.
So you had that one, and it was a SmackDown only pay-per-view. And then the following year was also there was a SmackDown, but you've had, the various ones, where in 2015, you had the WWE Tag Team Champion as well as the Intercontinental Championship, on that one. Then in 2018, you had the first women's Elimination Chamber for the Raw women's. Wow, words. And then you also had the Universal Championship as well. So, yeah, it was definitely there was a lot of stuff. Well, let me rephrase that. That was actually, I think it was like number one contender for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 34.
Right.
So, and then like I said, the 2019 we saw the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championship match being, put into place, as well as the WWE Championship. You saw Daniel Bryan, who was champion, keep his title back in 2019. So there's been definitely a lot of matches, but like I said, after this Sunday, there will have been 28 individual Elimination Chamber matches.
Right.
So
that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of any that were. The only one that was bad was the ECW one that dismembered December to dismember.
Yep.
The match, I guess, when you really look at it, wasn't terrible. It's just like the booking of that whole show was bad.
Yeah. Well,
but that's a conversation for another time for sure.
Yeah. Because that match you had Bobby Lashley, Big Show, who was your champion at the time, Test, RVD, Hardcore Holly, and CM Punk.
Yeah, and everybody came in thinking it was going to be CM Punk to win. He gets eliminated first, I believe. Like, okay, well, Rob Van Dam win. No, he gets eliminated next. It's like what? Like,
yeah,
and nobody was into Lashley at the time, so
no,
he's one that ends up winning it. And dude, the Big Show was huge at the time.
Yeah,
it was definitely one of his bad moments. But regardless, yeah, guys. Thank you for joining us. Remember to check out our other shows. Tomorrow, we'll be doing like another episode with the video game show. Lord Cash, I'm going to talk a little bit. But I got probably Cobra Kai lined up. We'll see what it is tomorrow at 8 o'clock. But obviously Thursday, catch us for WandaVision at 8 p.m. We'll be talking about what happened in episode 6 and our thoughts for episode 7. A lot of stuff going on every day in that show. And watch our old episodes on WandaVision, really, because we have a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of cool stuff that doesn't matter if you've seen it or not. You can be able to go rewatch the episodes to see what you didn't miss and see if you can catch it the second time. But as always, thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. But for Lord Cash, for myself, for the dog, for everybody else floating around, adios. Thanks for joining us, guys.